Hi, my people. Welcome to our study today in the book of Matthew, at chapter number 10, verses 1 to 42. We are going to see Jesus calling his disciples and giving them the work to do, sending them to go and do the work which they had observed him do for a while. And we are going to see him equipping them with what was needed. That is the power and the authority. After he had requested them to pray in the book of Matthew, chapter 9, verses 37 and 38, whereby he instructed them to pray so that the God or the Lord of harvest would cause laborers to be available, since now the harvest was plentiful. We see now here in the book of Matthew chapter 10, Jesus is sending them. That tells you that even when you are praying, it would be the solutions you are seeking, it would be within you. But once you pray, God reveals to you that which He needs. So let's go to the study. We see what our greatest teacher did to his ladders. Verse 1 of Matthew chapter 10, and Jesus summoned to him his 12 disciples, and he gave them power and authority over unclean spirit to drive them out and to cure all kinds of disease and all kinds of weaknesses and infirmity. Now, these are the names of the 12 apostles or special messengers. First, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Nathanael, Thomas and Matthew the tax collector, James son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus, Judas not Iscariot, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. Jesus sent out these 12, charging them, "Go nowhere among the Gentiles, and do not go into any town of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, drive out demons. Freely without pay you have received, and freely without charge give. Take not gold, nor silver, nor even copper money in your purses, that is belt, and do not take a provision bag or a wallet for a collection bag for your journey, nor a garment, nor saddles, nor staff, for the workman deserves a support of his living, his food. And into whatever town or village you go, inquire who in is in it is deserving, and stay there at his house until you leave that vicinity. As you go into the house, give your greetings and wish it well. Then, if indeed that house is deserving, let come upon it your peace, that is freedom from all the distresses that you are experienced as the result of sin. But if it is not deserving, let your peace return to you. And whoever will not receive and accept and welcome you, nor listen to your message as you leave that house or town, shake the dust of it from your feet. Truly I tell you, it shall be more tolerable on the day of judgment for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah than for that town. Behold, I am sending you out like sheep in the midst of wolves. Be wary and wise as serpents, and be innocent, harmless, guileless, and without falsity as doves. Be on guard against men whose way or nature is to act in opposition to God. For they will deliver you up to councils and flog you in their synagogues, as you will be brought before governors and the kings for my sake, as a witness to bear testimony before them, and to the Gentiles, that is the nations. But when they deliver you up, do not be anxious about how or what you are to speak, for what you are to say will be given you in that very hour and moment. For it is not you who are speaking, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. Brother will deliver up brother to death, and the father is child, and the children will take a stand against their parent, and will have them put to death. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake. But he who preserves and endures to the end will be saved from spiritual disease and death in the world to come. When they persecute you in one town, that is, pursue you in a manner that would injure you, and cause you to suffer because of your belief, flee to another town. For I truly tell you, you will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor is a servant or a slave above his master. It is sufficient for the disciple to be like his teacher, and the servant or a slave like his master. If they have called master of the house Beelzebub, that is master of the dwelling, how much more will they speak evil of those of his household? So have no fear of them. For nothing is concealed that will not be revealed, or kept secret that will not become known. What I say to you in the dark, tell it in the light, and what you hear whispered in the ear, proclaim upon the housetops. And do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul, but rather be afraid of him who can destroy both the soul and the body in hell. Are not 2 little sparrows sold for a penny? And yet not one of them will fall to the ground without your Father's leave, consent, and notice. But even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, then, you are of more value than many sparrows. Therefore, everyone who acknowledges me before men and confesses me out of a state of oneness with me, I will also acknowledge him before my Father who is in heaven, and confess that I am abiding in him. But whoever denies and disowns me before men, I also will deny and disown him before my Father who is in heaven. Do not think that I have come to bring peace upon the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to part asunder a man from his father, and a daughter from her mother, and a newly married wife from her mother-in-law. And a man's foes will be they of his own household. He who loves and takes more pleasure in the father or mother more than in me is not worthy of me. And he who loves and takes more pleasure in the son or daughter more than in me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take up his cross and follow me cleaves steadfastly to me, conforming only to my example in living. And if need be in dying also is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his lower life will lose it, the higher life. And whoever loses his lower life on my account will find it, the higher life. He who receives and welcomes and accepts you receives and welcomes and accepts me. And he who receives and welcomes and accepts me receives and welcomes and accepts him who sent me. He who receives and welcomes and accepts a prophet because he is a prophet shall receive the prophet's reward. And he who receives and welcomes and accepts a righteous man because he is a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whoever gives to one of these little ones in rank or influence even a cup of cold water, because he is my disciple, surely I declare to you, he shall not lose his reward. So that is the word of God according to the book of St. Matthew chapter 10 verse 1 to 40, all the way to 42. And we thank God for his word. My prayer to us is that God will give us grace to put this word into practice in our life and to obey it, because the word of God is always alive. It is active, it is powerful. The word of God is God himself, and God will never disown his word. God is not a respecter of any person, but God fulfills his word. May God give us the spirit of pursuing the character and the nature of God. That means loving God and knowing that he knows us, he cares for us, he preserves us, and he has given us a mission to do and to fulfill, which can only